here today. And today we're going to be talking Power Rangers. Yes, we're going to be talking about Power Rangers. The first thing I want to talk about is something that I've been talking about for a long time on my channel when talking Power Rangers. Is first and foremost, I told you guys how much Mighty Morphin is my favorite team. I like every single Mighty Morphin. No iteration. They're all the characters are amazing. Um, I love a lot of the other Rangers as well, but here's the thing. That's what I want to talk about most specifically. I love Mighty Morphin, and every time that they can come back at any given time, would I be disappointed or mad about it? No, no, I wouldn't. I love seeing Rocky return. I love seeing Aisha return. Getting to see Walter Jones return. I don't really care. All these characters, Karen Ashley, I should say. Um, it's just all these characters can come back anytime they please. I wouldn't bat an eye to say why. The one thing I do want to say is that same love. I want that treatment with other Rangers. I feel like there's a lot of Rangers, and I talked to a couple of Rangers that outside of Mighty Morphin, like maybe two or three, right? Maybe two or three that are not from Mighty Morphin, who who are willing to come back ever sees the opportunity to, right? And I feel like that's what Power Rangers needs to do, right? You know, there should be like some sort of like other crossover, because back then, because see, back then they used to have Mighty Morphin, but they would always use a little bit of other characters, like, like there was an episode with Adam where his morpher was broken and he was morphing broken morpher. You remember that one? I think it was like Operation Overdrive. I don't remember which one it was, but there was a lot of different other Rangers other than Mighty Morphin. It used to be like that. It used to be like that, right? Where they would use a little bit more of different Rangers for outside of it, and then Dimension and Danger, when the Ninjas still won, they had other Rangers outside of Mighty Morphin. That's kind of what I want, and here's the thing, right? I also would love if like we can get other characters to get other shines of return, right? I'll give you one example. Hector David Jr. He is the Green Samurai Ranger in Power Ranger Samurai. I've talked to him. I met him like two or three times, I believe. Um, and we've talked about his possible return, if he would ever return to the series, if the series would ever sees the rose. And I feel like and I feel like now, even with with all the reboots that are happening, it's like reboots of Mighty Morphin, like even after like outside of the normal Power Ranger timeline, the TV Power Ranger timeline universe, they're even still thinking about Mighty Morphin, and all it be is Mighty Morphin. And I'm not mad. Again, I love the Mighty Morphin. I think that iteration is my favorite, like Power Rangers. But at the same time, other Rangers should get love. I want a universe. If we're really gonna go into a new universe, let's say, not returning of the actors because they want to reboot it. Let's say, for example, you want to continue a universe. Let the universe continue to have other Rangers a part of it as well. Like, maybe Zeo, maybe continue it forward from outside of Mighty Morphin, which is what I was talking to Hector David Jr. about. I was talking to Hector David Jr. about his possible return. He would love, he would love to. He only ever returned, only ever got a chance to return once in the superhero battle, the big superhero battle in Megaforce. And that's kind of like what we were talking about. Like, why doesn't other Ranger teams get more love? And why don't we get a chance to see more? Like, he'd love to return. It's just there's so much they, like return, we're not saying, and I'm not saying it has to be like a whole series, like David Yost came back for a whole season. It doesn't necessarily need to be like that either. But like when a crossover event happens, why don't we get more Rangers, more love? Like we can get more like Mike. can come back. You know, I know a lot of these Rangers, a lot of these Ranger actors really loved doing what they do, and they had multiple different reasons of why they left the series in the first place. But they don't mind coming back and showing love to what made them famous in the first place. A lot of them I see, most of them that I see, whether I met them or I didn't met them, and I see them on video, a lot of them show a lot of love for what they do and what they, you know, what made them famous in the first place, which is Power Rangers, and then a lot of them really would love to come back. They don't shame themselves for being in Power Rangers, and a lot of them really do love it. And that's kind of why I don't get the mindset of, oh man, you know, like why don't we show love? You know, it doesn't have to necessarily be a whole like season per se, right? You don't need to make it a season or a movie. It doesn't have to be like once and always. Would preferably want it to be, but if it doesn't, if it doesn't have an opportunity to make it like that, you like a crossover would just be fine. A crossover episode with just different Rangers that we can get more love to. Like that's kind of where I was leaning towards staying, not focusing hard on Mighty Morphin and maybe focusing on other Rangers in the universe, because I know there's other Rangers in the universe, and you know they keep going back to Mighty Morphin like it's that is the only like Ranger team out there, you know. With Ranger with the with there being a lot of Ranger teams out there, there's a lot of great members of them teams, and a lot of them have expressed, you know, would love to come back into the series, would love to reprise their role for like a cameo, like or like a crossover episode, you know, like that's kind of where what I was talking about, in the sense we really need to have episodes with them in it, like other Rangers in it. Because let's just say, because there's a very few. Let's just say there's a very few, maybe even a little bit more than I really anticipated. Because I know there's a lot of love, but there's also a very few handful of people who just don't see it as high praise as I do. Right? They rank it lower than expected, which is insane. How Mighty Morphin. There are people out there that say and think that, but to each his own. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, what if you didn't really like Mighty Morphin as really much? Your Power Ranger series, really, you could be a big fan of Power Rangers, but maybe you thought Mighty Morphin was good, but just not good as people say it was. As maybe it was, no, it's a little bit overrated in your opinion. Not my opinion. Definitely not mine. It's my favorite team. But like, just maybe what are you thinking that, right? You wouldn't really want to watch Power Rangers ever again, because you watch Power Rangers, you love the other teams, you grow to love other teams, but then these crossovers, you're like, oh, Mighty Morphin, oh, Mighty Morphin, oh, Mighty Morphin, oh, Mighty Morphin. Just focusing it, a whole movie was once and always a Mighty Morphin movie, a Mighty Morphin movie. You're just kind of like, okay, maybe you are a big fan of Mighty Morphin, but you're also like me, who really love other teams as well, and you're like, well, why don't we repeat the return? Like, I get it, and we love these characters. Like, I talked to Steve Cardenas. It's really cool to see you return. I really love seeing everything about you. I just really want more from other Rangers, right? We talked. I talked to uh, the Red Cycle Ranger. If I was to talk to the Red Cycle Ranger of his return, if he would love to return to the series, he said yes, anytime, any place. Let me know. And we all know that a lot of these Rangers don't shy away from Power Rangers. They all left for numerous of reasons, different reasons. Some pay, some not, but they don't shy away from giving respect to the series that they once were in. They, you know, the thing that made them, that boosted their career to the high grounds, right? Who got them a little bit of recognition in their lives, right? And they all show expressions of how, you know, they really truly feel about Power Rangers, and the fact that Power Rangers really doesn't show them love as well. It's insane. Like Hasbro, I don't know. I think for Hasbro, Neil Saban, whoever's in control of the whole show series, why don't we why don't we get you know, why don't we get more? Why don't we get more from this, from these universe, right? Yeah, cause you see, cause I was watching a lot of these seasons that I'm like, oh, these are so good, so good and whatnot, and and I'm gonna use a little bit of Super Sentai, right? I was watching how good these seasons of Power Rangers, these seasons of like Power Rangers was, and was looking like, oh yeah, these seasons of Power Rangers are really good. I would like them to return. Well, let's use a little bit of Super Sentai in this. Super Sentai, what they do is very good at like showing off other Rangers. They don't really show a lot of the other Rangers' face. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Depends on what they could do, what they could bring. But like they do a lot more to connect all the universe together. They have a lot of actors that come back that are not from like Gokaiger. It doesn't have to be Gokaiger. The difference between the crossover that happened with Megaforce and the crossover that happened in the Superhero Tenzin movie for Super Sentai, you could definitely see the difference maker there. Like you did get to see the other Rangers fight and all, but all of them got a lot of shine to really talk in Super Sentai that Mighty Morphin didn't get a lot of actors really to return. So kind of where like Power Rangers need to focus on trying to bring other fandoms back, because a lot of Power Rangers is a really cool thing and a really special thing, and a lot of people, there's a lot of people who you wouldn't believe that are like Power Rangers still to this day, no matter the age. I've seen a lot of people older than me that really like Power Rangers still to this day. So you look at it and say, and you talk to them and you're like, oh yeah, I like Mighty Morphin, whatever it may be. I didn't really get a lot of interaction with people outside of Mighty Morphin, because of how many don't really don't really do conventions outside of just Power Rangers convention ones. But like I met a couple, and a couple were like samurai fans, were coming like samurai fans, or in Rangers in Space and Time Force and all that. And those fans are really like, man, I wish we'd get more love for those series. And I'm totally agreeing with all of them. People want more love for their favorite series, and I feel like for me, I truly agree with them. But we don't get a lot of love. We don't see that a lot, right? We truly, 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 to this day and age, don't really get a lot of love for other Rangers outside of Mighty Morphin. You know? So Power Rangers, Hasbro, all the people, listen to me well, listen to me well. Get get the ball rolling on what is needed for the universe of Power Rangers. Alright. Before I end this, I feel like I should really comment on something. I saw the 20 top 10 20 Red Rangers, and I'm not gonna comment on the my list, because that's gonna be a whole new list. I'll make a new talk about that, because I need to sit down and actually think about what my top Red Rangers are. Then we can then we can assess that. But I'll tell you one thing. Rocket DeSantos. I don't know how many people love Rocket DeSantos as much as I do. I know a lot of people. I know he gets a mixed emotions, but let me put a little bit of like flowers on him before I end this video, because I feel like I saw this video and I wanted to make the comment on it. So my comment is this. My comment is Rocky DeSantos had a lot of expectations being the first Red Ranger to make the change. He was the second Red Ranger, but he was the first one to change from the original. Obviously, the original is going to be goaded. The original is goaded. Jason Lee Scott is goaded. Rocky DeSantos had to put a lot of pressure to be just like him. And it's not really hard. It's not really easy. I would say it's not really easy. Not really easy to replicate greatness, right? to really replicate greatness. It's not easy to replicate. It's not easy to replicate greatness. Not easy to show off it. But he was better in Azul Blue. But Red Ranger Rocky Santos is not bad, and I don't want people to continue to say that. Okay, continue to say that he's bad, and continue to say that he sucks, and I don't want to hear that. Like if you're comparing him against other Rangers, maybe I can see why he's a little bit low, because there's a lot of greater Red Rangers that I like more than Rocky de Santos. But we need to give him his flowers, and if you don't give him his flowers and you say he sucks, we have beef right then and there. Because I do not want to see, oh, because this guy, he's not good enough. He is good, and I don't want to hear it. And if I have to, hear slander from him again, I'm really going to lose it. I'm tired of a lot of slanders that he gets. He's a great character. Everybody just has their special qualities. That's what makes Power Rangers so amazing. Every character in this whole line of series is special in their ways. I like some more than others, but there's not one person in this series that I'm like, look, it sucks. It sucks like to the point where it's like I can't stand him. Like, no. I mean, obviously there's some that I love more than others, and I'll continue watching more videos of them over the others, but I mean, it's just taste. It's just about taste. And I think Rocky DeSantos shouldn't get the hate. Like Rocky DeSantos did his part and he did it great. And I met Steve Organis. Him outside of Power Rangers and him inside of Power Rangers are both the same. Amazing, quality people. Simple. Rocky DeSantos and Steve Cardenas are amazing people. Let's just say it like that. Rocky DeSantos is a swell guy as much as Steve Cardenas is. Like, I met him twice, maybe 3 times, maybe. So you wanna look at it and say, oh yeah, Rocky DeSantos, not a bad character. Don't want to hear it. If you guys all have to say something bad about him, I mean, they do push for Mighty Morphin, obviously version of him with the red. But like I said, it shouldn't be him in red. It should be him in blue, because I think that's where he shined more. Because that's going away now. He's in his new form. He's not really like he's not really like taking the pressure of the number one. He gets to be himself now. But I think like both of the versions of him were great. I do not want to hear his slander anymore from fans. I want to hear fans rejoice on what is best for him. Okay. All right. That's all I got. Peace out.